Hello guys, welcome to my SQL series on learning. My name is Nse. In the previous lesson, we saw how to create tables. Today, we are going to see how to add data to tables. Let's get started. To add data to a table, the command used is this command here, insert into table name, parenthesis, and within this parenthesis, you provide the columns that you want to add data to. Then you have values. You have another parenthesis. Within this values parenthesis, you provide the values that you want to add to the table. Now let's head over to command line and see how that works. Here on the command line, I'll enter my password and then hit the enter key of my keyboard. To start, we have to pick a database to use. So for this, first I'll show databases. Show databases. This will show us the databases that we currently have available. We have all these databases. I'll simply pick the bookstore. Let's use the bookstore database. So we are going to type the command use book_store semicolon, and then I'll hit the enter key of my keyboard. Database has changed. So let's just confirm that it is the bookstore database that is currently in use by typing the command select database semicolon. So it's been confirmed here, the database in use is the bookstore database. Now from within the bookstore database, let's pick a table to use. To be able to pick a table, I would like to see the tables available. So let's show tables. Notice here that we have empty sets returned to us, meaning that we currently do not have any tables available in the bookstore database. That's because we dropped all the tables that we created in the bookstore database. Remember from our previous class, we dropped all the tables that we created by the end of the class. If this sounds strange to you, you may want to refer to our previous lesson on creating tables. The link is in the description. So now let's create a table to which we are going to add data. Remember the syntax: create table name. I'll call it books, and we have to specify the columns. First, let's have a book ID. Let's the data type be int. Next, let's have book title, and let the data type be varchar, and let's give it maximum length of 200, and let's have author name. Let's set it to varchar with maximum length of, let's just say 100, not forgetting a semicolon. Hit enter on the keyboard. So we can see here that query is okay. Just to be sure that we have this books table created, let's show tables one last time. Notice that we now have books table displayed in the bookstore database. Now, just to remind us, when a new table is created, it is totally empty until data is added into it. So clearly, we do not have any data in this table yet because we have not added any. Nonetheless, I want us to see that shown to us by MySQL. For this, we will use a command that will display to us everything that we have in the books table. By everything, I mean all the columns and all the rows that we currently have in the books table. And that command is this command: select star from table name. This star, or asterisk as you would call it, is often referred to as a wildcard. This simply means everything, just basically everything. So we can say that this command is basically saying select everything, in this case all rows and columns, from the table which name is provided here. Now let's head back to the command line and put this to use. So in here we are going to type select star from, in our own case the table name is books, so we are just going to type books, and of course we'll end with a semicolon, and then we'll hit the enter key of the keyboard. So it is shown to us here that we have an empty set. That means that we do not have any data in this table currently. So let's now insert data into the table. Remember the command to use. We are going to type insert into, our table name is books, and we are going to specify the columns to insert into, and we are going to specify the values that we want to insert into the columns. Let's go back to the command line. Here in the command line, we are going to type insert into, our table name is books, and we will open the first parenthesis here, and we are going to specify the columns that we want to add data to. In this case, we want to add data to all the 3 columns that we have in the books table. So let's have here book ID, let's have book title, and let's have author name. Now notice that I am separating each of the column names with a comma. After typing this, I want a new line. I do not have a semicolon here, so I can afford to hit the enter key of my keyboard, and I'm going to have a new line started for me. So on this new line, I want to type values, and of course have this values parenthesis, and for the first book I'll just give it a book ID of 1, and book title, remember that the data type for book title is varchar, so we have to wrap it with quotes. Let's just have Harry Potter as the book title. We'll have a comma again, and then for the third value, which would be assigned to the author name, let's have J.K. Rowling. We are done specifying the values, and we are done with this command. So let's have a semicolon here, and let's hit enter. Query is okay. So now I want to type the select star command again. Let's see what is going to be returned to us. So select star from books. Notice now that we have 1 book added to our books table. The book has book ID of 1, book title Harry Potter, and J.K. Rowling as author name. I want to point out that when inserting data into a table, the values are specified in the order that the columns are listed. So in this case, while listing the columns, we provided book ID first, and then we provided book title, and then author name. This means that the first value here, which is 1, is going to be assigned to the book ID. The second value, which is Harry Potter, is going to be assigned to book title. And the third value, which is J.K. Rowling's, is going to be assigned to author name. And that is already evident in the books table shown here. Please note that this order is very important. Just to show us how important the order is, let's try and switch the order and see what happens. Let's have values, and first let's have, I'm going to type Harry Potter here. I'll have a comma, and I'm going to type in no particular order. I'm just trying to mess this order up so that you see how important it is that you follow the order of the outlined columns. And lastly, let's have 1, semicolon, hit enter. Notice that we have this error here, incorrect integer value Harry Potter for column book ID at row 1. We have this error displayed like this because while creating this table, when we typed the create table command, we set this book ID column to integer. So it is only an integer that can be added to the book ID column. So mixing up the order of your values can go wrong in many more ways, but this is just one of the ways. So we can see how much the order of the values affects the output of the query. Now let's go see how to insert data to a table using the workbench. So open the workbench, click on MySQL connections, enter your password. I'll enter mine. Click OK or hit the enter key of your keyboard. This command here is from the previous class. Remember when we created the menu table? Okay, so that's that. We currently don't have any file. So come here, click on this icon here that says create a new SQL tab for executing queries. I'll click on it and I'll go straight to inserting data to our books table. Notice that we have the books table already here. So let's type the command insert into books. Let's have our parentheses and let's provide the columns book ID, comma, and book title, comma, and author name. I'm going to start another line, not because you must start another line, but I prefer to do it like this so that my code can be easily readable. So we'll specify the values. First, let's specify the book ID as 2 and let the book title be 1984 and the author is George Orwell. Let's end with a semicolon. Just before I execute this query, I want us to notice that 1984 could be an integer, but in this case, we have it wrapped with quotes. We wrapped it with quotes because the data type that we provided for book title while creating this table is the varchar, and varchar has to be in quotes. Click on this icon that says execute the selected portion of the script or everything if there's no selection. That's because I want to run everything in this file, though it's just one command. So yeah, I want to run everything on this file. So I'll click on it. Look in the output window, you are going to see that we do not have any errors. So now let's select star. Select star from books, semicolon. So now that I want to run only this line with the cursor, I will use this icon that says execute the statement under the keyboard cursor. So notice here now, displayed to us is our books table showing all the data that we have so far added. We added this first row with book ID 1, book title Harry Potter, and author name J.K. Rowling. That we did using the command line. Right here, using the workbench, we have been able to add another book with book ID 2, book title 1984, author name George Orwell. So that's simply how to insert data into a table. You type this command, insert into, you provide the name of the table that you want to insert data into, and you have your parentheses. In it, you provide the columns that you want to insert data into, and you also provide the values that you want to insert. Remember, the values have to be written in the same order as the provided columns. So in this case, 2 would be for book ID, 1984 would be for book title, George Orwell would be the author name. I hope that you get the point. Now, it is possible to insert multiple data all at once. In the two cases where we have inserted data into this table, we inserted one row after the other. What I mean is, we first inserted data into this first row, and then we went ahead later on to insert data into this second row. But you can insert multiple data all at once. And in the case of our books table, we can insert many books all at once. And we do that using the same command as we use when inserting single data. As you can see here, we have insert into books. We have the parentheses, open and closing, and we have book ID, book title, author name. These are the columns into which we want to insert data. Now we have values. The difference now is in the values. Instead of providing just one set of values, we provide 3 different sets of values. Notice that we have each set wrapped with parentheses and separated with a comma. So now let's head over to command line and type this out. Here in the command line, we are going to have insert into books. We'll open the parentheses and we provide the columns book ID, book title, and then the author name. And I do not have a semicolon in there, so I can afford to hit the enter key of my keyboard and I'll have a new line introduced. Now on this new line, I want to have values, and I'll give this book the ID of 3 because we already have 1 and 2. I'll make the book title Things Fall Apart, and the author is Chinua Achebe. I'll close the parenthesis, I'll introduce a comma, and then I want another line. So I'll hit enter and I'll have another set of parentheses. In it, I'll provide the book ID. This time, let's say 4. I'll provide the title of the book, Light Seekers, and I'll provide the author, Femi Kayode. We are not done yet. We still have one last book coming. So I'll introduce another comma here. I'll hit enter to have another line. And I'll have 5 as book ID. Title of this book is Wahala. And the author is Nikki May. So now I am done entering all the books that I want added to this table. At this point, I'll have my semicolon and I'll hit the enter key of the keyboard. So notice that our query is okay. There is no error. Now let's select star from books. This is how our books table currently looks. We have the 3 last set of books that we added all at once using the multiple inserts shown on this table. We have book ID of 3, book title Things Fall Apart, author name Chinua Achebe. We have book ID of 4, book title Light Seekers, author name Femi Kayode. We have book ID of 5, book title Wahala, author name Nikki May. That's how you can insert multiple data into your table. Multiple insertion is very possible and it makes you enter data faster. I hope that you get the point. This is the much that we are going to take in today's lesson. If you have any questions or comments, please say them in the comment section. Do not forget to like and share this video. Also, subscribe to Learn In and turn on the notification bell. That way you'll get notified each time a new video is uploaded. I do hope that you found today's lesson very helpful. Thank you for watching. See you in the next lesson.